I'm going to call the meeting to order. This is the North St. Paul Planning Commission meeting of April 2nd, 2026. Can I have a roll call?
Chair Blees,
Present.
Vice Chair Wise,
Present.
Commissioner Alvarez,
Here.
Commissioner Muhic,
Here.
Commissioner Marcaccini,
Here.
Commissioner Sauro,
Here.
and staff and liaisons present today are City Council Liaison Nordby, Community Development Director Roberts, and Planning Commission Secretary Cherne.
Excellent. Thank you very much. With that, we have an agenda before us. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda as written?
I'll move to adopt.
Motion from Commissioner Wise. Second.
Yeah, second.
Motion from Commissioner Muhic. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Commissioner introductions. What a great idea. That's something that's not usually on the agenda, so that's kind of fun.
Cameron,
Well, because there were, I think, these two were missing at the last meeting,
I did.
and those two were present at the last meeting for the first time. So it's kind of like, how do you want to go about this? Vito, can you just briefly,
You want me to set the
Describe-
tone?
describe who you are and don't spend a whole lot of time with it, but I mean,
Yeah.
what you're doing here.
My name is Vito Sauro, and my wife and I moved to North St. Paul just under 2 years ago. We live on Margaret, and we've got 3 kids. We had 2 when we came, so one of them is still pink. And before that, we lived on Maryland and Rice in St. Paul, and I think people ought to be involved in their communities if they can. And I'm fortunate enough to be afforded the time and ability to do that, so here I am.
Excellent.
I think that probably sums it up. If you got questions, let
That's
me
good.
know. But
Yeah, well, we capture more questions later.
You're welcome.
thank you.
You want to explain for Vito and for Pete, what kind of, you've been here for what, one term?
Yes.
Or a term and a half? I can't even remember. A while.
Just the one, yeah. I think just the one, yeah.
Yeah. You have a background in, I mean, what led you here to do this, just out of curiosity?
I was asked.
Yeah. Good,
And,
okay.
and my background is in construction.
In construction, which is a good
Construction
place to
and
be.
real estate, so
Yeah.
it kind of blended in there.
Good
so,
place to be.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, I thought these guys might want to have some knowledge of that.
yeah.
So I'm Patrick Blees, and I have been involved. My wife was asking me, "How long have you been a commissioner in North St. Paul?" And I think I'm going on 20 years pretty soon here, because I was on the Design Historic Review Commission when it existed, and Mayor Sandberg appointed me to that. So it goes back a few years.
Yeah.
And I am an architect by profession, and with that, move on.
I'm Andy Wise. Also an architect, and I work for a contractor in Minneapolis. I have 2 little boys, and my wife is also an architect as well. We live over near the very bottom corner of North St. Paul near the Maplewood Y. I've been on the Planning Commission, I think, for 4 years, I think. 5 years even, maybe?
Yeah, maybe 5.
And yeah, that's it.
Well, I'm Cameron Muhic, and I work for MnDOT in the development review area. So basically, if anybody's doing construction near one of our highways, it comes through our department to take a look at. I am a urban planner by training, although I've always worked on the transportation side, and I live over by, and I never could remember, is it Housey or is it House Park?
Ooh, Housey is
Housey, okay.
generally how it's pronounced.
Okay, I'm on 4th Avenue near Housey Park, so.
I'm Pete Marcaccini. I retired about 5 years ago as a treasurer and controller for a hearing aid company. I lost my wife a couple years ago and decided to sell my house and moved into the Sentinel Apartments over on 7th Avenue East. And I'm here because I met Art at a Christmas party, and he convinced me to check in on the open position at the Planning Commission because I did the same thing when I lived in Florida and served on the commission down there.
Great.
Yep.
Very good.
Excellent. Well, I appreciate getting the little brief update. We can always talk more after the meeting. So, let's go to agenda item number 5. Golly, we just move along. Approval of meeting minutes. I would entertain a motion for approval of the March 5th meeting minutes.
Make a motion to approve the March.
Motion from Commissioner Alvarez. Is there a second?
Second,
Second from, was that
that was me.
Commissioner Marcaccini? And did anybody find anything that needs comment? I didn't in my observation.
Looks spot on to me.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
We're good. Meeting open to the public. If anyone from the public wants to speak on something not on the agenda, now is the time to do that. If you limit your comments to 3 minutes, if anybody's interested in that. And if not, then we proceed. We move on to public hearings. Conditional use permit application for 2121 Holloway Avenue East.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This first of 2 public hearings that the Planning Commission will hold tonight is regarding a conditional use permit application for an accessory dwelling unit, also known as an ADU, at 2121 Holloway Avenue East. For background, the applicant is Ligogo Mualeza. He is the owner and the applicant. The location is 2121 Holloway Avenue East. And for the request, he submitted a conditional use permit application to allow for the conversion of a portion of the attached garage into an accessory dwelling unit. And that is, if you can see my cursor, this area right here of the attached garage. The applicant provided a project narrative. They indicated that the proposed project involves the conversion of a portion of the existing garage into a self-contained accessory living unit. The existing garage measures approximately 17 feet wide, 19 feet high, and 30 feet long. The total area will be reconfigured to accommodate both a lower and upper level of habitable space while maintaining structural integrity and compliance with applicable building codes. They also submitted floor plans that are included in the packet. For code requirements, the lot here is zoned R1, single family residential district, and within the zoning ordinance, chapter 154, appendix A, table 3, use districts, ADU is allowed as a conditional use in the R1 single family district in compliance with the applicable standards. So ADU regulations. The ADU regulations are found in chapter 154.010 D2 in the city code. Staff reviewed the ADU proposal against the ADU regulations and noted that the proposal was compliant with all of the regulations in that section except for one, and that is that the minimum size of the ADU shall be 300 square feet with a maximum size of 900 square feet. The proposed ADU will have a ground floor area of 629 square feet and a top floor area of 629 square feet, making the total square footage 1,258 square feet. The zoning ordinance limits the maximum size of an ADU to be 900 square feet. As a condition of approval, the applicant shall amend the floor plans to show a square footage of no more than 900 square feet for the proposed ADU to be in compliance with the zoning ordinance. Other considerations for the ADU project would be impervious surface coverage. There's no expansion of impervious surface coverage, and there will be no changes to existing driveways. The project will work within the existing building footprint and structure. The design of the ADU shall be consistent with the existing attached garage and principal structure. A condition of approval should be that the installation of new windows, doors, and siding shall be consistent with the design and colors of the principal structure. Per the zoning ordinance, one maximum parking space is required for each ADU. Staff do not anticipate a parking impact due to the ADU because of the large amount of square footage of the existing driveways and parking areas, and that is also demonstrated in the packet as an attachment as well. Here on this slide is a list of all of the CUP review criteria. After reviewing all of the criteria, staff do find that the proposed ADU is in harmony with the criteria here. The proposed ADU would blend in with the existing building due to there being no footprint changes, and therefore would be compatible with the existing building site and surrounding area, as long as the new windows, doors, and siding are consistent with the existing building. The proposed ADU, staff find, would not negatively impact the health, safety, or general welfare of the neighbors or the city. In summary, the accessory use of this lot at 2121 Holloway Avenue East as an accessory dwelling unit is allowed by conditional use in the R1 district. The proposed plan meets this criteria here for approval, but should be conditioned upon those applicable requirements for the ADU. Public hearing notice. This notice was published in the Star Tribune on March 23rd, 2026, and notice was mailed to all property owners within 350 feet of the subject site on March 20th, 2026. Staff received no public comments prior to this public hearing. Finally, staff recommend that the Planning Commission make a motion to recommend to the City Council approval of the proposed conditional use permit for the conversion of a portion of the attached garage into an ADU at 2121 Holloway Avenue East, subject to the conditions outlined in the draft resolution attached in the packet. The primary condition that staff note is that the applicant shall amend the proposed floor plans to show the ADU with a square footage of no more than 900 square feet. Other conditions are submittal and approval of construction plans for a building permit and other applicable permits. New exterior siding, windows, and doors shall have a design and colors that are consistent with the existing design and colors of the principal structure. Another condition is that the applicant shall submit a new SAC determination with the Met Council and coordinate with North St. Paul Electric Department to determine whether there's a need to establish an independent electrical utility on site. And for next steps, it is now open to the Planning Commission to ask questions about the staff report. I will also note that the applicant is here today if they would like to add or present anything else, or if you have any questions for them.
The picture that we have right now is this one here. Is this currently a photo of it? So it's been a garage, but it doesn't have a door on the front? It's on the back side. Interesting. And it's been currently being used as a garage? Are they asking for a variance for that 300 square feet more to go from 9 to 12?
We have not received a variance
Oh, okay.
application.
So are we just asking them to not use 300 square feet of that space?
Yeah, that would be how.
So
the
just
zoning
leave it
ordinance is
unfinished, or
written.
would that qualify?
We discussed that with the applicants this morning. Get the mic. There's a couple options. Well, the biggest option is they can revise the plans, shrink down the size of the ADU however they see fit
Sure.
to meet that 900 square foot maximum. If they want to pursue the variance and have a larger one, then they would have to submit an application for the variance and come back and go through that whole process.
Sure.
We discussed those options this morning, and I'm sure maybe they'll have an answer now.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thought about it.
Okay.
I think it would be difficult to come up with a rationale for a hardship that drives a variance
I would agree.
approval. I think that would be a challenge. You answered one of my questions which was if those conditions had been discussed with the applicant, so.
And the requirement for a variance is that there has to be a hardship?
In order to justify a variance.
Okay.
Yeah, there's certain requirements.
We'll see those in the next.
We'll see those on the next report.
Gotcha.
Yeah, give you an opportunity to look at it and understand what the difference is. Sometimes the hardships are hard to define.
Yeah.
And the fact that it would cost you money is not considered a hardship.
Sure.
That's something I've always played with in my experiences as an architect. Client wants to do this because it's going to cost him too much. Sorry, too late, too late. You bought the property. Are there any other comments, questions?
No, this does seem like an ideal use of the space, and, if there was no public comment, and staff has laid this out really clearly, I feel like there's not a great deal to discuss.
Absolutely. Well, if we're done with questions from this group, I will call the public hearing to order at 6:47. Yes, I would like to hear from the applicant. If the applicant has words to say. If you have something to share, something further to share about maybe response to the conditions that are being suggested.
But you're gonna excuse me, I don't know how to address you.
That's fine.
We're just a bunch of guys.
We're friendly, we're not going to hold you.
Yes, my name is Dr. Ligogo Moholeza. I'm a psychiatric nurse practitioner at Fairview, and Elizabeth is my wife. And we bought the building in and we moved in 2015, I think, right? 2016, and we've been living there, and this massive 2 garages have been sitting there, not utilized. I tried to put a small workshop in there myself to waste time when I'm back from work, but I don't have time to do that. Then we started talking to my wife, why not finish it, and it looks ugly the way it is. It's one part of the house seems finished, and the other part looks ugly and unfinished. It's like we are living in unfinished house, basically. And we said, let's just finish it. And we said, we can do this slowly by ourselves. We're gonna find help here and there for people who know how to do it. Since the main structure is finished, it's just putting dry walls and those separations. We can do that, and we start to work on that. And until I got a message from Chris that we need to shrink the space, and that was kind of shocking to me. And I had two questions that I came to ask him. What harm does it do to have the whole 12,580 completed? They said there was no harm. We are just constricted by a rule that was established in the past, and this rule applies to everyone regardless of the conditions, because the attachment doesn't have to be bigger than the house, and they are estimated that 900 square foot will be enough for the attachment not to be bigger than the main house. Well, my house is 4,200 square foot. So there's nowhere 1,200 going to be bigger. And now they gave me the option to go for the other process,
A variance.
the variance, and finally we couldn't find a way that a variance will be possible. It's just I'm trapped in a rule that I can't do anything, and I don't have the power to change the ordinance. It's gonna take more time and more complicated. So I don't know. I'm open to discuss with my wife to have a space behind the living room that is 300 and something square foot that is locked out and unutilized, or I go for a variance that I'm less likely to get. What option do I have?
Well, you guys are the first people to apply for this. So so you're the test case, basically. We discussed this maybe 2 years ago, something like that.
Yeah.
So you're the first one. And I think, the 900 square foot was just, I think in our minds where that was more important, a lot of times people will build an ADU separate from the house, right?
Yeah.
Like just in the backyard, like another structure. And in that case, you don't want a bigger building there if it's a separate thing. Yours is a very different, in my opinion, very different. It's already there. It's already part of the building. So, yeah, I think there's not an easy answer that I know of in the short term, but I mean, I would be open to re-looking at that 900 square foot number. That doesn't help you right now because we would still have to do all the stuff to get that approved and talk it through and amend the ordinance and everything. But I would be open to doing that because I don't see any harm in this one. But as it stands right now, the rule is the rule. So
would his next step then be to apply for the variance and then argue that it's already an existing space and that 300 square feet more?
I think we should table the question to discuss with staff about what options there are, because there are probably a couple of options, but either one will take time and some effort, and it's not suitable for this discussion, I don't think.
He was just asking what's the next step.
So maybe to be a little bit clear, that variance, who decides that, yes, we're going to grant this? Is you guys or?
That would come before us, but then it goes to council for any kind of final approval, just like this would go to council for final approval for the conditional use.
Yeah, because what we are feeling with my wife, we might want to go the easy route and accept that we shy that 300 square foot, but this is where we live. How we're gonna have to live with this, looking at it every day and mourning and complaining and cursing that this space is there not being used.
yeah.
It's like living in a horn in your shoes
Yeah.
for the rest of the time.
I have an architectural question. Would the storage area qualify as removing that, or is that still part of the plan and make it difficult?
Well, I'm assuming it would, storage or something outside of the living unit would be justifiable. But yeah, it's just a matter of, is the space being well utilized? And I think that's a legitimate argument to be made. But as of today, a variance is not being requested. So as of today, it's a conditional use to allow for the ADU. And that's our task before us, so.
I think it basically comes, in part at least, comes down to how quickly you want an answer on this. You know, if you can wait a few months more for us to figure a way, if there's a way that we can solve this problem within the rules, then, you know, we can certainly do that. But if you want to start construction, you know, in 3 weeks' time or something like that, then you're right now, you're bound by the rules that we have. So.
I don't know, and Chris, maybe just throwing out like a hypothetical, if they would move forward now with the 900 square feet and they would, let's just say you frame out a storage area that is not part of this space, right? If we would then, let's say 6 months from now, amend the ordinance based on the fact that the first person we hear about this, it's a problem, would he retroactively be able to enlarge that ADU at that point?
I would recommend if that's a possibility, that the condition about the 900 square feet be nuanced to say unless the city changes the code in the future to accommodate larger spaces or something.
Or could it be something along the lines of, like you're saying, if it's a detached structure, but that's why I asked, I'm like, it's an attached structure, what's it gonna do, leave 300 square feet unfinished?
Yeah.
And the bottom line is, when you're saying that this is an eyesore, you mean because it's an unfinished garage? Is that why? Because you can sheet rock your garage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can sheet rock the entire room as one big room and make it look finished if you want. And so that wouldn't be habitable, obviously, it wouldn't have water or things like that. But I would think it would be a fair thing to approach this and say, hey, here's an existing footprint of an attached ADU. Maybe that has a different qualification than a detached.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Are there, let me do this. Are there any other members of the public that wish to speak on this topic? If not, I'd like to close the public hearing but have further discussion.
Yeah.
Unless you have more.
I think I said what I
Yeah.
had to say, yeah.
Okay. Let's close the public hearing at 6:58. I guess a question I have is, could we modify and/or add conditions that would, shall we say, manipulate this problem that's being discussed? Or accommodate. Yeah, I'm just wondering if there's a way that makes sense to do that. I don't have anything in mind. That's why I'm just I'm putting it out there for discussion. Yeah. Just to expedite. I mean, because there are certainly things we can do down the road. We could address a variance if the applicant brings a variance request. We could modify the ordinance to remove the 900 square foot maximum in whatever circumstances we would decide. That could be done, but there is time involved in doing that.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to figure out, is there an expedited, I think this group seems very willing to look at the practicality of the situation. I agree. But I'm trying to figure out if there's a condition we can stick
Can I
in
ask
there.
a question for a moment? Just as someone not in the construction field, they are putting forth a permit for a accessory dwelling unit. When does that have to be put forth versus a permit for a remodel? Is it because they're trying to take up square footage that originally wasn't intended, as living space, or could they just, why, it doesn't sound like they're making a separate apartment.
Why is it being addressed
why-
as an ADU and
Right.
not just?
Well, generally, if my recollection is, it's if there's all the equipment and such, usually one of the critical factors is putting a range in
And a separate bathroom.
and a separate bathroom. I mean, it is a living unit. It is a separate living unit, or it can be.
Okay.
I mean, you could make the argument that, just it's going to be family members that are just going to live there just like they're living there now. But the fact that there is certain pieces that are included in it makes it so it can be an independent.
The kitchen, basically.
The kitchen is
Oftentimes,
usually the critical.
kitchen's the issue. So if
Yeah.
it was just adding 6 more bedrooms and
Yeah.
2 more baths,
Yeah,
and it's part of the original home,
Yeah.
that's a different issue.
yeah,
I remember in this case, there's garage space in between the two.
right.
There's not a
Does
direct
that-
connection into the living space.
Does that?
Except
does
they're
that
connected.
matter? Does that matter?
I don't
though?
think it
For-
matters.
I don't think that matters.
No, I think the kitchen is what matters.
Right,
Well, it
because it
definitely does.
can be
Yeah.
a separate thing.
Yeah.
But if they were just to add more, yeah.
I would like to make one comment, suggestion to the applicant, and this is solely coming from me. This is not a requirement or anything, but just looking over your plans. If you go with doorways that are 32 inches or wider, then that qualifies as under the disability requirements, which is not a requirement that we're setting. It allows people to be in there if they're in a wheelchair later on. And if they're in a 28-inch doorway like you have in several places there, that makes it much harder for people that have mobility issues. But that is not a requirement. It's just something I'm suggesting if you wind up, you might think about as if you do wind up having to redo your floor plan a little bit. Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad that you applied for this
Yes.
because it's
Yeah.
a good test. Because we talk about ordinances all the time, and there's not necessarily a right or wrong answer to the things we come up with. It's just we pick a number that seems correct, and this is how we test it. If we're getting a lot of variance requests or it doesn't seem to be working, then we have to fix it. So. I'm glad you guys are doing this. ADUs are really a good thing to do, and I wish there'd be a speedier way to do it. But I think, we'll. How quickly are you looking to start?
I didn't know how.
Last fall.
That's yeah.
Okay,
Last fall, and I didn't know how long this would take. And
okay.
I'm learning that doing this kind of work is like you need to be mindful about time.
Yeah.
In my mind, I thought by December last year I would be done. But now I'm feeling like I'm gonna have to wait.
So,
We have our daughter that is in army, so she does not want to share room with her sister. Sure. And that other child who is in college, so when they come back, so we were trying to have them,
Mhm.
take some separate rooms.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Mr. Chair,
yes.
I noodled a potential additional condition.
Okay.
So we at this point, we have to stay within 900 square feet because that's the rules.
Right.
Well, if a condition was adopted and ultimately with the council, something to the effect to say if the city changes the ADU regulations in the future to allow attached ADUs with up to 1,260 square feet, the applicant's request shall be approved. Or applicant's current request or something.
Yeah, as presented,
Yeah, as
or as
presented.
proposed.
So they would not have to come back through the process.
And in order to make that change, it would mean a change to the ordinance, probably a pretty simple one, change to the ordinance, which would require a public hearing,
Planning Commission review.
review among planning commission members, and presented to the council for approval. So it's at least a month and a half
Correct.
if you expedited it.
Yes.
Couple months.
Okay,
Yeah.
say a couple of months. Yeah,
And that's if it goes quite smoothly.
yeah.
And there's,
And I would expect all we'd be changing is probably putting some variable conditions in there. I mean, like Andrew said, it's not unreasonable to consider it because this particular circumstance was not envisioned when the ordinance was put together in the way it was. So,
And I agree with the earlier comment that it was probably written for detached units, not enclosed in and attached.
right,
And so that would be some of the differentiation I would make in
yeah,
this case or future cases.
okay. I think that's a reasonable addition to the conditions. And it's not so much a condition on the applicant, but a condition of the approval.
Yeah.
So, all right, any other comments, questions?
Oh, and just for the record, if the commission likes that, maybe a separate motion.
To modify to add the condition?
Or, well, if you want to add that condition, great, but then a second motion requesting that city staff investigate changing the ordinance. Is it somewhat of a directive?
Okay.
What direction to go. Does that make sense, what we're doing? Does it, I mean, do you understand what we're trying to do? Like, we're trying to help accommodate this and just work with the current thing and see if we can work with it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Really very thankful to all of you.
You just have to, yeah, you just have to put up your framing and your drywall slowly.
Maybe a nail every couple of days.
Yeah, just
I get a building permit.
technically.
Yeah, building permit, yeah.
Wait.
Maybe the building permit will be held up a little bit.
But
No, probably not. All right, so, a motion to,
modify, change, add?
we should probably finish this topic and add something.
Yes.
So what I would be looking for is a motion to recommend approval to the council for the proposal as written with the 5 conditions. Do we want to do the added 6th condition as part of the motion? I think we can do that.
Yes, you can.
Well, it does, that would give them the option that if they wanted
Yes.
to go ahead with the
Yes.
900, they could do that immediately. And if they
Yes.
want to wait,
Exactly.
Yeah.
But so with the added 6th condition as described by staff?
yeah.
So how about a motion for that?
I'll motion for that.
As described.
As described.
I'll second.
Motion from Commissioner Alvarez and a second from Commissioner Muhic.
Please. Want to come up to the microphone, please?
So to my understanding about the discussion that was going on, there is a possibility that an amendment to the,
Current regulations?
that could happen, but it might take 2 months that to be completed, right?
Yes.
And I know so I think we will go with that, putting the drywall slowly until the 2 month may become, I know we need the construction permit that may take also that amount of time to have engineer to do that. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second.
Yep.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So we have a slightly modified directive to council. Can I get a motion to have staff investigate modification to the ADU ordinance?
I will so move that we request staff to make to investigate a modification to the ADU ordinance.
Motion from Commissioner Muhic, is there a second? Second from Commissioner Marcaccini. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are unanimous. Now, staff, you have a directive.
Yes, thank you.
Should be pretty straightforward, I would
And
think.
again, remember, the city council will make the final decision on step one here on April 21st. So put that on the calendar, be good to be here. Thank you.
Yeah. We are in April now. Very good. And then when staff brings revision, proposed amendment to the ordinance, that may be of interest to them as well. Would you notify them about that? Or do they need to be aware and watching newsletters and such? Okay. Excellent. All right. We are to the next topic, which is a public hearing for variance request for 2357 7th Avenue East.
This next public hearing item is regarding a variance request application for the property at 2357 7th Avenue East. For some background, the applicant is the City of North St. Paul. The City of North St. Paul is also the owner of the property at 2357 7th Avenue East. The applicant is seeking a variance from the residential district's lot requirements and off-street parking standards for residential districts in the North St. Paul zoning ordinance. These variances are requested in order to proceed with an administrative minor subdivision of the property at 2357 7th Avenue East. And more specifically, the request is a lot width variance of 9.07 feet on a proposed eastern lot and a driveway setback variance of 1.5 feet from the side lot line for both the proposed western and eastern lot. This, as you may already know, is the site of an ongoing student build project. Currently, it is being constructed to be a two-family dwelling, and a minor subdivision is desired for the property. However, in order to pursue that route, variances must be granted for the lot width and driveway setbacks. Code requirements. The lot at 2357 7th Avenue East is located in the R2 Mixed Residential Zoning District. In Chapter 154, Appendix A, Table 4, Residential Districts Lot Requirements, it indicates that the minimum lot width in the R2 district is 50 feet. And in Chapter 154.010 J9C, off-street parking standards for residential districts, it indicates that new driveways and off-street parking shall be set back a minimum of 3 feet from side property lines. So that is what the code says. And next is the proposed conditions. So right here is the survey showing the proposed minor subdivision. And I highlighted here in yellow where the lot width variance is requested. As you recall, the minimum lot width is 50 feet in the R2 district, and what is proposed right here is 40.93 feet. And this red line right here is the proposed lot line that runs right along the shared wall between parcel A on the east and parcel B on the west. This slide demonstrates the applicant's statement. However, I will get into that on this next slide with the variance review criteria as well. So the subject property is located in the R2 Mixed Residential Zoning District and will have a use of townhouse dwellings once construction of the building is complete. Townhouse dwelling is a permitted use within the R2 Mixed Residential Zoning District. The lot, as you saw in the survey, at this property is irregularly shaped due to its location being at the intersection of 3rd Street North, 7th Avenue East, and South Avenue East. That is that 5-way intersection over there. The lot is not rectangular and therefore becomes substantially more difficult to evenly subdivide in accordance with the residential district's lot requirements. Due to the structure's location on this property and the location of the shared wall that would ultimately be the location of a shared property line, there is no avenue in which the lot could be subdivided without granting a lot with variance of 9.07 for parcel A, which is the eastern lot. The driveways are unable to be reasonably relocated because the garages are directly next to each other and also have shared space. Staff believe the 3 feet that currently would exist between those two driveways does establish enough space to alleviate concerns of drainage affecting each lot, and is a reasonable variance request due to both the dwelling units and garages being directly attached to each other. Staff finds that the proposal would be unlikely to have any adverse effects on the health, safety, or general welfare of the city. And I will also note the visual aesthetics of the dwelling units that are currently being constructed are not proposed to change with this. The variances, if granted, will not alter any character of the locality and will only divide the singular lot into 2 separate lots. The building's appearance and the driveways will remain unchanged as permitted through the building permit process, whether or not the variance request would be approved. Public hearing notice, just like for the ADU application, the notice was published in the paper on March 23rd, 2026, and was mailed to all property owners within 350 feet of the subject site on March 20th, 2026. Staff received no public comments prior to this public hearing tonight. Staff recommendation, staff recommend the Planning Commission make a motion to recommend to City Council approval of the attached resolution adopting findings of fact and reasons for approval for a variance application for the property at 2357 7th Avenue East. The City Council may impose with Planning Commission recommendation conditions considered necessary to protect the public health, safety, and general welfare, and which are directly related to and bear a rough proportionality to the impact created by the variance. And now I leave it up to you if you have any questions.
Am I correct that the setback on the, what would be the northeast, the side setback of 6 feet is compliant with current ordinance, right?
That is correct.
Okay. Is there any kind of easement along this dividing line? Or is it just the lines we're seeing are just services, utility services? Yeah, okay.
There's no easements yet because it hasn't been divided.
Yeah. Well, I'm wondering if there will be easements. There probably doesn't need to be because they're private services. They're the final connection, so. Okay. Is there a reason this didn't come sooner when they were in development mode? Like planning mode?
I'll tackle that.
Just out of curiosity, you know,
The original design was to have the 2 units share a lot.
okay.
Got approved that way, got the permit, got a construction, and
Yeah.
upon further review, it was determined it'd probably be better to have 2 separate units that could be sold separately, rather than having to sell one whole big property.
Okay.
And so the variance came in after, but in part, it allowed for the surveyor to survey exactly where the line is based on where the footings in the common wall
Mm-hmm.
built. So we get exact dimensions,
Yeah, and the
exact
build,
legal description.
and the building construction doesn't change.
Correct.
It still is a dividing wall that's comparable.
We're just changing it from 1 lot to 2 lots.
Correct.
Yeah,
Because I remember when we first
Yeah.
looking at this, and there was some things we had to fudge because of the weird shape of the lot, but
Yeah.
now it's gonna
Yeah.
be it's a separate issue. Now it's like we wanna have two lots.
Correct.
Okay.
Did we actually, we never saw this as a,
I think we saw it. There was a.
because this was
thought we
what,
did.
that whole rule change where we were not gonna review things that were by right, okay to go.
That
so
are
we would-
compliant.
That were compliant, that we would.
True, it might have been.
So, yeah, I don't think we ever saw this,
We
but
talked something about this one.
I thought we did, but
thought we
maybe
did.
it
there was a
just minor
zoning
thing.
change.
Well, and that's,
on the
to
parcel.
Andrew's point, last
It was
last summer, last fall, we did a zoning change on a lot of the properties in this
Yeah,
area.
yeah.
They're in that mixed use, and we changed it to R2.
Yeah,
Partly because we knew the city wanted to try to build something.
Yeah.
on this
Right,
lot.
yeah,
right.
yeah.
And so we didn't necessarily have this design, but that was part of the impetus for that change.
Okay. All right.
I'm just curious, and it has nothing to do with this per se, but the lots are next to this that were platted decades ago. How wide are those, do you know? Are those 40-foot wide lots?
I don't think they're, no,
But there's some that are 3 or 4 lots connected together,
Right.
yeah.
yes.
If you look at the 5, 6, 7, those
Yeah.
are not 40. Not if this
This
scale
is-
drawing is correct, because that's 41 feet.
Yeah.
They're more like
They might be 50s.
20 or something,
Yeah.
if you look at those individual lot numbers. They're really, really small.
Yeah,
They're-
that's what I was-
They're
it
less
just
than
caught my
20. They're like
attention.
24 or 25 feet.
Yeah.
Maybe 25 now that I'm thinking about it. If you look at some of the historical documents, they did a lot of really narrow
skinny
lots.
lots, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they're very skinny homes. They're like 16-foot wide homes on there. Yeah. And some of those are still around.
Yeah.
I think they should get historical designation, but that's a whole separate.
We have some amazingly small homes in this.
Yeah, we really do. Some of the old ones. Okay. Any other questions, comments? If not, I will open a public hearing. At 7:22, open the public hearing on this topic. Anyone want to speak? Come forward. Give your name and address, please. Excellent. Yeah. Give it to staff. I don't want it.
My name is Joseph Florian, and I reside at 2367 7th Avenue East, right next door. There's two things I want to talk to you about, the North St. Paul building ordinances and adherence. The third thing I want to talk to you about is a safety issue. This is I don't know who Ken Roberts is, but he called me and told me about this proposal. I saw it all staked out, and there's a city employee by the name of Randy Miller, I believe his name is, and he told me they're going to build 2 townhomes there. And I said, look where they got these stakes. Ordinance is that it's supposed to say 6 feet, 72 inches from the lot line. I said, it's not right. So I had a contractor come in there and put in a fence. And at that time, they were doing the excavating, and when it came back, it had been poured, the wall had been poured. And he told me they're closer than 6 feet. I went out there, tape measure doesn't lie. He told me that he keeps his fences at least 2 inches or further from the lot line. I measured it, it's a little over 5 feet. But with the 6 foot, it runs for over 50 feet, and there's an eave, and that's gonna run right down on my property. This thing was not done and inspected properly. But more importantly, this is the real issue here. That lot is not even a quarter of an acre. It's .229. It's at less than 10,000 square feet. They're building 2 townhomes on it. Now, there's an ordinance, which I'm sure you're all aware of, maximum impervious surface. The maximum impervious surface, it's a 60-40 split. I think you guys are all aware of that. And we all know what that is. That means no asphalt, no bricks, no cement. That means it has to be dirt so the water can go away. Well, I did the math on it. It's pretty simple. We know how many square feet are on an acre, and we know what 40% is. they were only allowed to put a footprint in there of 3,900 or 3,700. I did a pencil thing, just a workout. I haven't seen the blueprint, but they're over 1,000 feet larger than that footprint. And that doesn't include it. There's 4 porches. You tell me what house gets 4 porches? I figured out the square footage of those 450 some feet, square foot. What I'm concerned about is first of all, they built too close to my lot line. Secondly, there's a 50-foot eave and it's 24 inches. That's all gonna run on mine, and I got lower land. Secondly, I'm concerned about now they want to encroach. I always thought that you came with and requested a variance before you started building. This seems ass backward to me. But now they want to take the sidewalk and move it further toward my lot line. I mean, the 20 by 25 driveway. You're going to come even closer to my property. When you give them a variance of another 1.5 feet, you give them a hand to take your arm. I am totally opposed to this. This should never have been that big. A footprint, when you have maximum pervious surface, it's 40%. That's what you're allowed to build on. 60% of it has to be pervious, has to allow the runoff. This was not abided by. And they built as big as they could, and now they want to go and move their driveway closer to my house.
That's not my understanding, but
They're gonna, if they're
the
gonna
driveway
move.
is not moving closer. The driveways are close to each other, but they're not closer to your property.
They want to move 1.5 feet toward the property line.
No. The variance is to put the 2 driveways that are being constructed closer to each other, which would actually move it farther from your
Okay, well,
From your property.
I wasn't clear on that.
Okay.
The third thing is even a bigger issue. The comprehensive plan that was developed in 2000, 2005, 2010, that intersection with those 5 roads coming in impinging on it, it's very, very dangerous. I lived there long enough to know I cannot pull into my driveway. I got to do a Y turn and back up, and I damn near got hit. And when the motorcycles come up from Newman's, I can't see them. I don't know how those people are going to drive in head first and back into that traffic. There was just an accident there about 2 weeks ago. Somebody got rear-ended, and I'm telling you, it was glass and everything. They pushed that vehicle into there. Ryan Frandl came on a Wednesday afternoon, this late fall, and he was standing there. And we were sitting and looking at that intersection. Well, we were there. 2 vehicles ran those stoplights. They came right through. The worst is 7's not that bad, but that one that's coming from the southeast across, is that County B? Mm-hmm. And also 3rd. There's a hell of a lot of traffic on 3rd. It's going to get really busy. The comprehensive plan, on 2 different occasions, wanted to put a roundabout there. That was the plan. And it would speed traffic. There wouldn't be the backup. This summer, that's going to be really backed up, especially with the car shows. A lot of people coming through with construction stuff. There'll be a lot of people recreating, having boats and stuff. I had a really good friend who lived in that little greenhouse. His name was Jack Mayer. He got killed, and he just right out in front. He was walking across the street, and somebody came up and killed him and splattered him right there, right in front of Rulin Chapel's house. There was a woman who lived over on that County B. Wonderful woman, terrific woman. And she walked down to McKnight and, B, to catch a bus. Somebody killed her. That's 2 fatalities. The 3rd, there was a motorcyclist, I don't know his thing, but somebody ran a light and he went flying up in the air. I don't know if he was paralyzed or killed. I never heard. But that is a very dangerous intersection. Also, I've lived in that property long enough to know that when Tim Schwenker owned that house, him and his wife, the city came and told him, you cannot take egress onto 7th. It's too dangerous. They shut him down. He had asphalt driveway and a curb. He said, no more. So he couldn't do that. He had to come in through the other side, through that, the curb is still there. It's going to be damn dangerous for those people to pull out, especially in the summer. There's a lot of accidents. You know, nobody's getting killed now, but there's a lot of fender benders. I wish that roundabout would go in there. It would keep the traffic moving. Sometimes it's backed up beyond my drive. It's a dangerous intersection. I'm more concerned not so much about people in trucks and vehicles, but there's a lot of kids on bicycles. There's a lot of kids on scooters. I see them. I see young women pushing baby buggies. I just don't want to see a fatality there. I've seen 2. That's enough. I just want you to be aware of this.
Thank you.
I'm glad you heard me out. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, just out of curiosity, does anybody know what the square footage of the building is? Do you have
Well,
that
it's
in
on
your
the-
documentation?
It's on the plat map here, third or fourth page from the back. We've got the square footage on the parcel A, B, and the garage floor.
I see the parcel square footages, but I don't see the building. I'm curious about that, based on that comment. Oh, I'm sorry. We still are in public hearing mode. We should close the public hearing
Well, unless we have more people.
unless there's anyone else who wants to speak. No. Let's close the public hearing then at 7:31, just to, and then we can have further discussion.
765,
Yeah, I was just trying to
4,
find if
9,
that information was given.
26 plus 992. We're looking at about 13,603. If I'm reading this right.
I don't know the square footage of the home and the garages and the porch. There's 2 porches, one on the back side of parcel A and one on the east or west side of parcel B. Well, there's a front porch also on parcel B.
There are 4 porches.
Yeah, and there's a front one on.
Yep.
Yep. Those are entrance porches, the 2 on the
The 2
front.
front ones are, yep.
I get somewhere, really roughly, I get somewhere in the neighborhood of 3,500 square feet. That's very rough, because there's.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was looking at the parcel square footage, my
because of the
problem,
bumps.
my mistake, yeah.
Was this reviewed for the impervious, what he had brought up?
Yes, in the R2 mixed residential district, it is not 40% like in the R1. The allowed impervious surface is 50%.
Oh, okay.
We don't exceed that. The way it looks. Okay, I was just fact checking a little bit there. We can't address a roundabout tonight.
No,
Unfortunately.
it's a separate issue. It's a separate issue.
Maybe someday we will, but not today. As much as we would like to. Are there any other questions or comments?
If I may, I did speak to Joe a couple of times about the project when he was working on his fence and this was starting. And I had our team double check the setbacks. And according to the staff I talked to, they verified that the outside of the footings or the basement wall was right at 6 feet.
And then he's saying his overhang though.
Well, yeah, and that's allowed.
Yep.
It was Joe's belief or contention that it was at 5.5 feet, but the best information we have, it was surveyed, the surveyor set the corners, as I understand it, for the footings and the foundation, and they said it was at 6. I didn't put a tape on it, I just have to go by what I was told.
You have to believe the surveyors, that's why they are registered professionals. So,
I think the only comment that I have is I'm having just a hard time getting past the, you know, legal reason why a variance is needed here, because this, if this all would have gone in the correct order, this wouldn't be an issue, because the house would have been designed to meet all of this already. So, you know, when it says the plight of the landowner is due to circumstances unique to the property, not created by the landowner, in my opinion, it is created by the landowner, because it was originally designed for one thing and now it's been rethought. So that, to me, that's the part I just can't get past for my own opinion. But yeah, that's the only issue I see.
Patrick, can I provide a couple of comments? First of all, so everyone knows, the minimum lot sizes for both lots in square footage will be met. It's just the lot width variance for the one lot. And part of, to Andrew's point, the conditions were not created by the property owner. It was that goofy shape, which makes it more challenging. Now, yeah, you could shrink something way down and shift it so the whole footprint is smaller, and then shift it farther to the west, so then the new property line shifts over 9 feet, so you could get a 50-foot wide lot. Yes, that probably could have been done in advance, but one of the challenges is the shape of the property. And that's, it is what it is. The city didn't create that. That's just how it's been for years and years.
Right. But again, just my opinion, but you know, there's the same project with the same square footage. If we would have started with the idea of it being two separate lots, we could have gotten there without having a variance, right? The house might be look slightly different, but to me, that's just, you know,
It could have been planned if it was planned from the beginning.
yeah, right, right. And I mean, I agree, it is an odd-sized lot, but I don't, in my opinion, that wouldn't stop this project from existing as a conforming project.
So their main reason for requesting this is so they can sell it as two separate parcels? Were they imagining they were gonna sell this as one parcel in the beginning? As a realtor, that's a hard sell, to have to sell, someone say you have to buy both properties. That's what I mean. Right, both you have to buy 2 units on this parcel. They do that. They do that. Yep. Investors buy them all the time, but
More discussion?
what's our main question here that we're being asked? Or
Main
should we say, yep, you can get that 9 feet?
Yeah, the main question is the two things, right? The reduction in the width of the lot and the reduction of the side setback for the driveways in between, the driveway setback. Right? That's basically the two things.
And staff's recommendation is to approve it.
Well, do we have a motion to approve as recommended?
So if we say, hey, we don't think this is a good idea, and they have to sell this, they have to sell both these units together,
Well, remember, yours is a recommendation of the city council.
right? So right, and then they can do what they want, but if it doesn't get approved by city council, then it'll say, no, it's one parcel. with two different properties,
Two different
units on one part, okay. Do those have two separate, like, property ID numbers?
Not until it's divided.
Okay,
They do have separate utilities.
And addresses and everything, right? So, yeah.
It might be a unit A, unit B kind of thing.
Oh,
I feel like we're really boxed in on this. You know, I'm not happy about the points that the gentleman raised, in particular about the safety on the streets, but the building is already well under construction, and we can't exactly, you know, well, I guess we could, but it would be an awful waste of materials and time and experience for people that, you know, if we said they can't proceed with this.
but it does fit all the requirements.
Yeah.
They're going to proceed with
Yeah.
building it.
Yeah,
anyway.
It's just a
exactly.
matter of, are we letting them divide, not are we letting,
Yeah.
are we proposing that it can be two different parcels also?
So, like I say, we're kind of boxed in.
Yeah, the only question before us is, should it be subdivided?
Yeah,
and have
no, I
variances?
realize that.
So, like I said, we can't discuss the roundabout today.
right.
Yeah, I have a challenging time seeing how the shape of the lot is the crux of the issue. I think a similarly sized two townhomes could have been built on that lot in such a way that they met the width requirements if it was planned that way. Right, the problem is a planning issue by the landowner, like not a shape of the, right, like if it were a rectangular shaped lot, that'd be great. But it wasn't, and they knew it wasn't rectangularly shaped when they built the structure. I don't like that. I think I would love to put a line down the middle and say, yeah, it's two separate lots. You could sell them as two separate lots, but I'm not seeing a lot of,
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's unfortunate because I mean, I'm a big proponent of the student build homes
Yes.
program, and it's just unfortunate that we're at this point now where there's literally nothing that can be done. I mean, we can't. The house is there, so. You know, and my concern with this also, just in the same vein, is that, you know, we're going to set a precedent that we're going to give a variance to a building that's already built or in construction, which to me is not a good thing to do, in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, I do feel like we're kind of boxed in. There's not a whole lot we can do here.
Talk about why you feel about it's not a good idea for a property already under construction to get a variance.
Well,
Because it just wasn't planned well enough up front, or?
yeah,
Yeah.
you can't. A variance is meant for, you know, if it's a very an oddly shaped lot is something that, to me, this isn't odd enough to get to that point, but I just don't think, in my opinion, it's good to start down the road of saying yes to a variance when, in my viewpoint, it's just a missed planning issue in the beginning. It's nothing having to do with the actual parcel itself. It could have been addressed in the beginning. It wasn't. So I just can't see a way around that, in my opinion. But just me.
Yeah.
So if we would have a motion and vote, we would get a result, be able to send it back to the council.
Yeah.
For action.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think we can vote.
So, we
I'm
need a
just
motion.
I'm just saying my opinion, that's all.
We need a motion to,
Well, you can have a motion for either.
To approve or reject.
well, the motion is not necessarily, think about Robert's rules for a second. If the motion is to recommend approval to the council, as staff has suggested, then the vote will either approve that motion or not.
Right, and then if you want to follow up with a second motion,
What would the second motion be?
if it's not A, then it goes to B.
Well, not
It's kind of by
approving,
default.
not approving it or recommending to council not to approve it is kind of the result. Either way, if we would vote that way.
I know I should know this. The city owns this property right now. Does the city own these buildings?
Yes, and they will be
Sold.
completed in hopefully in May or June and then be sold.
So I will motion to follow the recommendation from city staff to approve.
Okay, motion from Commissioner Alvarez. Do we have a second? Can I second, just out of curiosity?
You're one of the 6. Was that a second or you?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm thinking about various things at the same time, so yes.
Just checking. I saw the wheel spinning.
Yeah, it's, sorry, my brain runs really slow, so.
And now,
I've got a question.
Yeah.
I don't have any problem with the 9-foot variance, but I'm having trouble understanding the 1.5-foot driveway.
Chris will put the image up. So the garages are right next to each other,
Mhm.
and there's only 3 feet between the,
Oh, it's between them. Oh, that,
Yeah.
okay.
so it's, instead of a 3, to meet setback, the driveways would have to be 6 feet apart. Now they're only gonna be 3 feet apart down that line.
down the
So,
center, basically.
if you can you see the image, Pete?
Yeah, now I got it.
Yeah.
No,
So it's not out to the sides, it's just the 2 driveways right next to each other.
that makes more sense. All right, thank you.
But they're not a combined driveway, right? Not like the houses over on the, that we looked at earlier 2 years ago.
Yeah, on, what is that?
Uh,
Over by
the school,
Richardson.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so,
There's a motion on the table.
there's a motion on the table?
Yes. So now we vote?
Let's vote. In favor, say aye.
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 That's 3, right? Yes. Nays?
I'm going to abstain because I don't feel good about it, but
Okay.
I don't see a way around it, but I don't
Okay.
feel good about it.
All right, nays?
I don't feel good about it.
Nay.
Nay.
2 nays. Do you need names attached to those?
That'd be ideal, yes.
All right,
As a liaison, can I ask a question?
yes.
Point of order, I guess. If a city council member, my understanding, if I were to abstain without clear conflict of interest, it counts as a nay.
That's my
Oh.
understanding
So-
as well.
Okay,
I believe
all right,
they,
well,
if he does exactly what he says, it doesn't change anything. My understanding is that would have to be counted as a nay. That's just my 2 cents.
Good to know.
I think you're right about that, Robert's rules wise. But I'm not certain, and I don't in my book.
I,
My
rec-
wife is way better at this.
I recall reading that also.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. We hold where we're at? Commissioner Muhic?
all right, I'll change it to a yay, but I'm,
Commissioner Muhic?
Reluctant.
yes, very reluctantly.
Yay.
But to be clear, I was not trying to change your vote.
No,
nay.
no, I understand. It's
It
because
matters though, if that's the scenario.
And,
otherwise it leaves us deadlocked. And
yeah,
I think I think the fact that we've got a couple of nays up there at least gives the city council the idea that they may need, this is not a slam dunk, and they need to think about it. Otherwise, if we're deadlocked, then it really doesn't,
Yep.
do anything.
So just so it's for recording purposes, Commissioner Sauro and Commissioner Wise were nays.
Got it.
Just to make sure that we got that on record. Okay. Excellent, excellent. Good job.
Not happy with that.
I think we are done with the agenda. Unless there's something else.
I would like to make one more request of city staff because of some of the comments made here today. It sounds like there is great interest. And I don't know if it can happen immediately, but my understanding with conversations I've had recently with the gentleman that just sat next to me is although this was in the past on the summary for a roundabout, because of it got changed where it was no longer recommended where this was a good fit. So if possible, forwarding those details and facts to this council sounds like might be interested in some of them. But that was my understanding is someone made a determination that this intersection was not a good fit. I'm vaguely remembering because of elevation changes or something, but that a roundabout wasn't appropriate for
That
this
could be a possibility, but on the flip side to that, I will also say that if that was done a while back, there have been a lot of new developments in how roundabouts can be done, so it might be worth taking a look at again.
Agreed. I was just trying to
But
put
you're right, there
why it went
definitely is an elevation problem there with that Third Street coming up the hill,
Yep.
so,
And we'd also have to get Ramsey County on board, and it's
yeah,
a very low priority with them.
right, right.
Yeah.
Although if we actually have had several deaths in that area, that could count for raising the priority.
Mr. Frandl,
Thank you, sir.
we'd love to hear from you.
So a couple things. So I talked to Morgan, our city engineer, about that, and it came up as just a suggestion. He threw it out there. It wasn't a full plan from the county. That came from WSB, not from the county. And looking at the actual size of roundabouts, it wouldn't fit there. You'd be taking property is what you would.
Yeah.
So they did have an alternate design. It almost looks like from above, almost like a figure eight. It's kind of a round, but it just wasn't a good fit in there. According to Morgan Dolly, our engineer, I would like to correct one of the things that Joe had said when he was up here earlier. I was out there, did talk to him about that. I did not see two people running through the stop sign when I was up there. Now, as someone who was on the fire department for several years, and also talking to the fire chief, and also talking to the police chief, I did ask about that intersection. The issues are down on South and 7th, McKnight, and people are racing those lights. That's where the deaths have happened. Are there bumpers once in a while hit here? There is, but we have not, and I don't remember even recently, responding to any major accident at that intersection. I just want to be clear about that. Yes, if you want to talk about your motorcycles coming up the hill, and sometimes they do come up fast, I agree. One thing that I had talked about with the school and with Ron and Randy through the Public Works Department, and I don't want to throw a wrench in anything at this point with all the conversation, but one thing that was talked about potentially is off to the side of each one of those driveways. So if you backed out of the garage, had a little square section of asphalt that you could back there, and then so you could pull out onto there, was a suggestion. I don't know if this is just too late to even throw it out there. I don't want to throw a wrench in anything, but that was one thing that was talked about. But now if that distance to that property line is an issue, then probably wouldn't work. But that was one thing to address potential safety issues at that corner. Again, it hasn't been a major issue, talking to police and fire who responded to the accidents, of course. Just want to throw that out there.
Would also not be challenging to add as a future property owner if that was something they desired, right? I mean, you could even add an impervious or a pervious surface to do that.
Yeah, well, and there's,
You know.
I think there's
if they really like each other, they connect the
They could.
Right.
Is there actually a break between the two driveways?
3 feet. Yeah, 3 feet.
Does there have to be? I mean,
if they want it.
because then you
Well, the
could,
code
then you
says you
could,
have
if
to
you were
have it.
polite, you could
Or just put landscape rock down and.
drive on it. Yep,
Depends who your neighbor is.
right.
I would be interested, though, to have them take another look at the roundabout situation. I know in the last few years, we at MnDOT have started looking more and more at mini roundabouts in downtown areas because they take up a lot less space. There would still be property taking, but it might be possible to put something in there. But there are so many other contributing factors that it just may not be sensible. But if they looked at the standard roundabout that's about an 80-foot radius, when they looked at it the first time, we are looking at smaller roundabouts these days. So,
It's always been a horrible intersection.
And that was kind of looked at too, but like on the south west quadrant, if you would say, they just put a new gas transmission line down there, and they have pipes that are coming up out of the ground there.
no fun.
Electric department has a feeder line that comes down along 7th Avenue on the north side, which is a large cabinet over in front of M&I Development Home. So it became more difficult with some of the utilities that are around there, but you're right, something,
Yeah.
anything's possible.
But he is right. There is an awful lot of high-speed traffic, well, not high speed, but higher speed traffic on 3rd going to and from the Quick Trip in particular. It's like in fact, I think I may have mentioned to Chris or to Ken that I would like to see the county put, or somebody put, a flashing bicycle crossing signal there on 3rd Street because it's hard to see bikes coming up and down the trail. And,
yeah.
you know, they did put a flasher over by the Public Works building, but it's actually easier to see bikes coming when you're crossing there than it is when you're coming down 3rd Street.
Yep.
So, but I think that's a county thing or DNR. I'm not sure who put that up. But anyway, that's another story altogether.
Okay. Do you have any reports worth reporting? Anything?
I've got one thing I'll mention. We are having the city's, once again, holding the cleanup day on Saturday, May 9th. A couple of changes this year.
Okay.
It's posted on the website. We are charging this year. There's different rates based on the size of the vehicle and trailers. We're prohibiting box trucks. You can't rent the 26-foot U-Haul and fill it up and bring it down.
Okay.
You can have one small trailer, a single axle, no dump trailers, no big tandems. I think it's basically SUVs and pickups and trailers. And there's different prices for the different elements. We're going to have vehicles line up on 3rd and on 2nd, I believe, approaching from 7th, going down the hill to the site. And so hopefully, with smaller vehicles and charging, it will help crowd control because last year it got to be overwhelmed and getting dangerous at times within the site of the public works. So we're hoping these changes will mitigate some of that cluster effect that was happening.
It's a very popular event.
Yeah.
And what can be brought?
Just about anything.
Yeah, except we're not taking electronics now because those can go to Ramsey County, the Roseville, or the Washington County sites for free. And no mattresses this year because there's a special mattress pickup program going on as well. And we're hoping, related to this, we're in the process right now of reviewing proposals for our new solid waste and recycling hauler contract, which will go into effect September 1st. We're hoping, fingers crossed, we might be able to work in some curbside bulky pickup as part of that contract to even lessen the need for the cleanup day, but that's yet to be determined.
How would that differ from what they're doing now? Because right now it seems like they'll do curbside bulk pickup if you contact them a week or more out.
What we're hoping is maybe with minimal price increase that every home could put out 2 items a month
Included.
included.
No, that would be, yeah.
Yes. But that's, we're hoping, it hasn't been decided yet.
Yeah, because I know I've had to rent like an 18-foot U-Haul the last 2 years, not because of the amount of stuff that I have, but because it won't fit in my car and I don't have access to a pickup truck. So it's like, that's the next thing that you can rent.
Yeah.
Or you go to,
Pickup.
Yeah, you can if you remember far enough out.
or
That's the other problem.
Home Depot
But that's
rent
on
you a
me.
van or a pickup, or Menards will.
Yeah.
Pretty cheap.
Yeah. So so we're trying to get the word out that there are changes.
The other thing is, there's a garage sale, the citywide garage sale,
Yeah.
which is, what is it, the last
Chris has got that.
first week of May? First weekend?
It is the first weekend of May, just finding the dates. I believe it's Thursday through Saturday.
Second weekend.
Correct. And then on Sunday, May 2nd will be, or Sunday, May 3rd will be the city's first ever Trash to Treasure Day, where residents can place items at their curb for free and people can go around and shop the curbs.
Nice.
So that way you can do the garage sale and the trash to curb, and then anything that's not left, you can take down to the,
Yeah, anything.
Exactly it.
That's all well-timed.
Mhm.
Good planning.
Oh, and one other thing that's, you may have noticed, the city has started flushing fire hydrants this week. We got some calls Monday that it was stirring up some color, some of the water was turning colored.
It did.
Because the chlorine had been sitting in the pipes and it's getting flushed through. Those calls have subsided, but that'll be going on for 3 or 4 weeks. The water's safe, it just doesn't look great. Run your faucets for 20, 30 minutes. Hopefully it clears.
that always makes me grin a little bit. I think of the people I know in Houston that say that in Houston, Texas, never trust any air or water that isn't the color that you see in real life.
Can I expand on that quick, if that's okay? There's so many phone calls have come in over this, so we'll back up to the beginning. So we did a road reconstruction last year, and you cut out large sections of the water main and you put new water main in. And if you don't get that cleaned very well with chlorine before you put it in the system and then test it and all that good stuff, you have the potential of this bacteria that got in there. We think that's how it got in there. So then you're required by the Department of Health to add chlorine into it. The bacteria that was in it is not bad to your health. It's a precursor to something else that could be in there. It wasn't, so it was like leaf or dirt or something like that. It wasn't, feces or unfortunately left into the pipe on the contractor's site somewhere and it didn't get washed out good enough or something like that. So we tried a couple times. We put it in the system, then stopped because we had good readings on the testing. Within 3 days, we detected it again, so we had to put the chlorine back in there. So this, to do it properly now, and in conjunction with the Minnesota Department of Health, we're flushing the entire system. We couldn't do it over the wintertime because you're in a great ice skating rink. So we're waiting until this time of year. They've started the flushing. I think it's going to be about a 3-week process. Once we get it good and flushed, we will then stop using the chlorine. We will do the testing about 3 days. If we get a positive test, you wait another week, do another test to make it positive before we can think about removing it. If, unfortunately, we can't get it out of the system, it will be permanent in the system.
The chlorine.
The chlorine, correct, which is a big deal. I mean, it's a big change for us, which is kind of a shock to our system because chlorine not only it's put in there for the bacteria aspect of things, but it also cleans the pipes. So all the minerals that are built up into the pipes and the walls of the pipe over the years, that's what gets cleaned off, and people see the rusty water coming through. So you just run it until it runs clear, and it's fine. It's not harmful to your health, according to not just us, but Department of Health. But we get a lot of complaints about that. People think it's dangerous to drink, and it is not. Just clear it out. If you do happen, it does happen to affect you while you're washing your clothes, Do not dry them because that will be permanent at that point. Just rewash them again in clean water and you'll be good to go. But so we're keeping our fingers crossed that we can get this taken care of and get back off it. I mean, we're well known for the good quality of water that we have, so we're hoping to get back there, but we'll see. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, because we were never affected by that 3M chemical stuff, right?
So the testing for that over the years has gotten more and more, I don't know, intensive, I guess. It used to be calculated in parts per million. They are now parts per billion because they can test that level. There's actually only a couple of do it across the country, but we did find once you got down to the billionth level, we had like 4 parts per billion. So nothing like the neighboring communities.
Yeah.
So we're fortunate that way, yes.
Are there any other reports?
Nope.
I was excited to see the rebate for rechargeable lawn care equipment. That's awesome.
Oh, yeah, that is nice.
I'm definitely going to use that.
That's nice.
Yeah, there's a whole, you get, I think, up to 50% of the cost of the equipment. And
Oh, and you forgot to mention the tree thing is coming up, too.
The tree what?
The tree giveaway is coming
Oh,
up. And
Yes, so the tree giveaway, North St. Paul residents can enter a lottery for a free tree. Looks like entrance for the drawing starts April 24th at 8 a.m. and ends May 3rd, so you have that entire time window to sign up. More information can be found on our website, or if you call City Hall, we'll get you set up with that.
We got a birch tree last year.
You.
So that's where we got it from.
out of curiosity, do we have any idea how many people apply for those as opposed to how many we give out? I don't imagine that's a planning activity that you guys know.
I don't have those numbers, but I do know that last year we received more people in the lottery than trees we had available, and I believe it was around 50 trees around there. Don't take me at my word.
Yeah.
And it wasn't always that way. There were times that we did have leftover trees.
Mhm.
Actually, we wanted to start doing more of a lottery because there were more people that applied, and we
Mhm.
would keep giving them to the same people.
Yeah.
Variety, but it's close though.
I'm glad the city does it.
Yeah.
I keep hoping one of these days I'll have a situation where I can get one. But it's not the city, it's just that my yard needs a lot more work before I plant something there.
We planted it, and then the rabbits started immediately eating it.
They thought you brought in a
Whole
buffet.
separate problem. All right, with that, I think I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I will motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn from Commissioner Alvarez.
I'll second.
Second from Commissioner Muhic. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
8:08.
Thanks, folks.